Have you ever sat at your kitchen table, quiet, in the early morning light, wondering how your body, once strong and dependable, began to betray you? Maybe it's in your knees. That creak when you stand up from a chair that never used to be there. Maybe it's in your digestion, your skin, your sleep. Or maybe it's in the fatigue that settles over you like fog, even after a full night's rest. Now here's a hard truth I must tell you, not because I want to frighten you, but because you deserve the truth. If you're over 60, your body is no longer playing by the same rules. What you put into your mouth is no longer just food, it's either medicine or poison. And when it comes to seafood, some of the most trusted choices on your plate may be quietly sabotaging your heart, your joints, your immune system, and even your brain. You've been told seafood is always healthy. That it's lean, clean, and filled with heart-loving fats. But the industry doesn't talk about what happens to seafood as it travels through polluted waters, factories, or tanks laced with chemicals. It doesn't tell you how these creatures, harmless as they may look, can stir up storms inside your aging body. Today, I'll show you 4 seafoods you must walk away from, and 4 that could become your allies in healing. But let's start at the beginning, with one of the most misleading of them all. Number 4, squid, a metabolic mirage. To the eye, squid seems benign. Elegant even. You've seen it grilled with lemon, or breaded and dipped in marinara. It's always marketed as light, high-protein fare. But when I see squid on a senior's plate, I see something else entirely. I see a cholesterol grenade. Just 3 ounces of cooked squid contains nearly 200 milligrams of cholesterol, 2/3 of what an older adult should have in an entire day. And here's what no one tells you: after 60, your liver no longer manages cholesterol with the same agility. The system slows. Blood fats linger. And the consequences gather silently. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients found a 31% increase in cardiovascular events among older adults with high dietary cholesterol. And not just heart attacks, these events include silent strokes, early signs of vascular dementia, and microclots that chip away at memory over time. But squid doesn't stop at cholesterol. It's also loaded with purines, nitrogen-based compounds that, when broken down, turn into uric acid. And if you've ever felt the cruel, stabbing fire of gout, you know what uric acid can do. In young bodies, it gets filtered. In aging kidneys, it doesn't. It builds. It crystallizes in the joints. And the pain that follows is often misdiagnosed as arthritis or just getting old. But it's not age. It's inflammation, triggered by what we eat. And squid, deceptively tender and mild, is one of the worst offenders. If you've been waking up with stiff fingers, swollen toes, or unexplained fatigue, and squid has been part of your seafood rotation, it's time to reconsider. What once seemed like a gourmet delight may now be fueling silent damage inside your body. And by the time symptoms surface, your arteries stiffening, your joints aching, it's often too late for a simple reversal. But don't despair. Because just as some foods bring harm, others bring healing. We'll get to that soon. First, let's walk a little deeper into the shadows. Number 3, imitation crab, the great pretender. You've likely seen it in California rolls. In seafood salads. In frozen crab cakes that promise taste without the price tag. But imitation crab isn't crab. It's surimi, a highly processed paste made from pulverized fish scraps, starches, sugars, and industrial binders. And for seniors, it's one of the most treacherous imposters you can eat. Let's look beyond the label. Surimi has a glycemic index that mirrors white bread. That means within minutes of eating it, your blood sugar surges, especially dangerous if you're dealing with insulin resistance or prediabetes, as so many older adults are. In 2020, a study in clinical nutrition revealed that older adults who consumed surimi-based products 3 times a week had significantly higher insulin levels and glucose variability. That's not just a sugar spike, it's a metabolic landslide. Over time, those fluctuations exhaust your pancreas, strain your arteries, and steal your energy. But imitation crab's dangers don't end there. It's laced with sodium, often over 700 milligrams per serving, and it's not the kind of salt your body understands. These are processed sodium compounds, designed for shelf life, not human life. When you combine aging kidneys with high sodium intake, The result is predictable: swelling in the ankles, spikes in blood pressure, increased risk of atrial fibrillation, and a slow, creeping erosion of your vascular system. And yet, this seafood still finds its way into senior homes, cruise ship buffets, and hospital menus. Why? Because it's cheap, easy to store, and passes as the real thing. But your body knows better. Your digestive enzymes struggle with the synthetic binders. Your cells cannot use its fake nutrients. And your inflammation markers? They rise, not fall. So I ask you now, gently, when was the last time you ate imitation crab? Did you notice fatigue after? Did your blood pressure edge higher in the days after? If so, your body may already be whispering its warnings. Listen to them. Now. I want you to pause. Breathe. You are not too far gone. Your age is not a sentence, it is an invitation. An invitation to feed your body with reverence, not convenience. Because healing is possible. Even now. But before we talk about the healing seafoods, the ones I wish every senior knew about, we need to examine one more silent toxin that's probably in your freezer right now. Open your freezer drawer. There, nestled in plastic, might be a tray of pale, tender rounds. Scallops. Elegant, unassuming, and often praised for their simplicity, scallops are adored by chefs, trusted by nutritionists, and chosen by seniors for their soft texture and mild flavor. But when I see a scallop on a senior's plate, I don't see safety. I see cadmium. A heavy metal that hides in the folds of this gentle shellfish and moves silently through your bloodstream. Scallops, like all filter feeders, absorb what surrounds them. They live near the ocean floor, siphoning water through their tissues. And in that process, they don't just take in nutrients, they concentrate pollutants. Cadmium is one of the worst. It doesn't exit the body easily. Once inside, it clings to the kidneys, those tireless filters that protect your blood, regulate your minerals, balance your water. And here's the chilling part: as you age, your kidneys naturally lose efficiency. They shrink, they slow. After 60, you lose nearly 1% of your kidney function every year, whether you feel it or not. Add cadmium to the mix, and that gentle decline turns into a dangerous spiral. A 2022 study in toxicology reports examined scallops from markets across North America. They found that even a modest serving, just 4 or 5 scallops, could deliver enough cadmium to push a 70-kilogram adult dangerously close to the weekly safety limit set by the World Health Organization. That means even occasional scallop meals, over time, may saturate your kidneys beyond repair. But that's not all. Scallops are also strikingly low in omega-3 fatty acids, the very compounds we rely on seafood to deliver. And that's a betrayal hiding in plain sight. You think you're feeding your brain, your joints, your heart. But you're not. Compare this: a 100-gram serving of scallops gives you less than 30 milligrams of EPA and DHA combined. The same serving of oysters? Over 500 milligrams. You'd need to eat a platter of scallops the size of your chest to match what a handful of oysters can do. So what are you really getting with scallops? You're getting trace metals. Cholesterol. A false sense of security. You're not getting protection. You're not getting repair. You're not feeding your future. And the tragedy is, so many older adults switch to scallops thinking they're choosing something clean, something digestible, something safe. I see it every week in my clinic. They're trying. They're making the effort. But they've been misled. Because marketing is louder than medicine. And then, there's one more marine food. The most seductive of all. The one most likely to appear in stir-fries, on buffet tables, in bright plastic bags labeled Easy Peel and Jumbo. Shrimp. Small. Innocent. Almost charming in its pink curl. But don't be fooled. Shrimp is the most dangerous seafood a senior can eat, not because it tastes bad or is poorly cooked, but because every part of it, from muscle to shell, is an assault on the aging body. Let's start with cholesterol. 3 ounces of shrimp, barely a small handful, contains around 180 milligrams of cholesterol. That's more than most seniors should consume in an entire day. Now remember what we said earlier. After 60, your arterial walls become less elastic. Your liver metabolizes fats less efficiently. And your immune system becomes hypersensitive to foreign proteins. Add shrimp to this equation, and you get the perfect storm. A 2021 study published in Circulation followed over 8,000 adults past the age of 60. Those with diets high in shrimp and other cholesterol-dense shellfish had a 35% increased risk of stroke and 24% higher likelihood of coronary disease compared to those with lower intakes. But cholesterol is just the beginning. Shrimp contains a tough muscle protein called tropomyosin. In younger adults, the body digests it easily. In older adults, with slower digestion and a more reactive immune system, tropomyosin becomes a trigger. A spark in a dry forest. That's why nearly 14% of new shellfish allergies in people over 65 begin after the age of 65. No childhood allergy. No early sensitivity. Just a dinner one night, followed by itching, rashes, bloating, brain fog. Sometimes even anaphylaxis. And it catches people by surprise. But I've eaten shrimp my whole life, they say. Yes. But your body isn't the same body it was. Its needs have changed. Its defenses, more fragile. Its tolerance, narrower. Even the outer shell of the shrimp, the chitin, becomes a problem. Tiny fragments remain after cleaning, and though harmless to some, in seniors they can trigger gut inflammation, gas, and bloating. But the darkest part of shrimp's story lies not in its nature, but in its nurture. Because most shrimp sold today is farm-raised. Grown in crowded, shallow tanks across Southeast Asia, pumped with antibiotics like enrofloxacin and oxytetracycline, drugs banned in many countries, but still used to keep diseased shrimp alive long enough to harvest. A 2022 study in food control tested frozen shrimp from major U.S. retailers. The results? Over 42% contained detectable antibiotic residues. Many had banned drugs. And the long-term effect on seniors? Disruption of gut bacteria. Increased antibiotic resistance. Hidden damage to liver enzymes and metabolism. If you're over 60 and eating shrimp weekly, believing it's a lean protein, please reconsider. You are not weak, but your biology is shifting. The same food that nourished you before may now be sabotaging you from the inside. Shrimp isn't a meal, it's a gamble. But now, let's breathe. Because the worst is behind us. You've seen what to remove. The quiet, hidden dangers of popular seafoods, the cholesterol time bombs, the metal-laced imposters, the inflammatory toxins hiding in familiar forms. Now let's talk about healing. About nourishment that doesn't inflame, but restores. About marine foods that don't burden your system, but partner with it, supporting joints, feeding your immune system, energizing your mitochondria, repairing the very architecture of your aging body. They exist. They've always existed. But the modern diet has forgotten them. In just a moment, I'll introduce you to 4 of the most powerful healing marine foods for anyone over 60. One of them isn't even a fish, but it has more collagen boosting power than a supplement. Another? It may be the single greatest seafood for joint regeneration, yet most people have never even heard its name. These foods aren't expensive. They aren't exotic. But they're not advertised. Because they don't make anyone rich. They simply make you whole. And isn't that what you deserve? You see, healing isn't loud. It doesn't crash into your life with urgency. It whispers. It rebuilds, quietly, like sunlight coaxing life back into frozen soil. And in the world of seafood, real healing lies not in the aisles of the supermarket or the freezer bags with perfect photos, but in the overlooked, the ancient, the oddly shaped. It begins with a creature that looks nothing like food. It doesn't have eyes that stare or fins that flutter. It moves slowly across the ocean floor, soft and strange to the touch. But inside its gelatinous body is a secret, a gift, especially for those of us who are aging. Number 4, sea cucumber, the joint rebuilder. Sea cucumber is not a vegetable. It's a marine animal, and perhaps one of the most misunderstood nutritional miracles in the ocean. In East Asian medicine, it's been used for centuries to support recovery after illness, to heal joints, and to nourish aging bodies. But now, modern science is finally catching up. Researchers at the International Journal of Molecular Sciences found that compounds in sea cucumber, especially something called triterpene glycosides, reduced chronic inflammation markers in older adults by over 30% in just 12 weeks. That's not marketing hype. That's measurable change. Swollen knees becoming flexible again. Morning stiffness fading. Hands that once struggled to grasp a zipper, now able to button a shirt with ease. What makes sea cucumber extraordinary isn't just its anti-inflammatory compounds. It's the collagen-like substances within its flesh. After 60, your collagen production slows dramatically. That's why your skin becomes thinner. Why wounds heal slowly. Why joints creak, and why the cartilage that once cushioned your knees seems to vanish overnight. Sea cucumber contains natural chondroitin sulfate, a compound found in many expensive joint supplements, but here, it's in its most bioavailable form. Whole. Real. Absorbable. Not made in a lab, but grown by the sea. And seniors who consume it weekly, usually stewed gently in broths or added to slow-cooked soups, report not just improved joint mobility, but softer skin, better digestion, and even deeper sleep. Why? Because when inflammation lowers, your whole body relaxes. The immune system calms. The nerves stop firing danger signals. And your sleep deepens like it did years ago, natural, uninterrupted, healing. Sea cucumber may look strange. It may sound unfamiliar. But if you can find it, especially dried or frozen, from reputable sources and add it to your diet once or twice a week, your joints will thank you. Your cartilage will hold on a little longer. And your mornings may no longer begin in pain. But joints aren't the only part of your body that needs protection. There's another seafood less strange, more delicious, that carries within it a nutrient so rare, so potent, it's being studied for its power to stop arthritis in its tracks. Number 3, green-lipped mussels, nature's inflammation blockers. Native to the shores of New Zealand, green-lipped mussels are small, tender, and packed with healing compounds most people have never even heard of. And that's a tragedy. Because inside these shellfish is a special kind of omega-3 eicosapentaenoic acid, or ETA. ETA is different from the EPA and DHA found in salmon or cod. ETA has a unique ability to block the enzyme 5-lipoxygenase, which is one of the primary triggers of joint inflammation and cartilage breakdown in aging adults. A 2020 study published in Nutrients followed seniors with moderate osteoarthritis who took green-lipped mussel extract daily. The results? A 42% drop in reported joint discomfort. A 35% improvement in walking distance. And for many, the ability to reduce reliance on NSAIDs, the medications that, while helpful, often erode the stomach and raise blood pressure in older adults. But there's more. Green-lipped mussels aren't just anti-inflammatory. They're rich in essential minerals, zinc, iodine, selenium, iron. Nutrients that your body absorbs less efficiently after 60. And if you've been feeling tired despite sleep, if your thyroid tests come back normal but you still can't lose weight, still feel foggy, these are the minerals that may be missing. To prepare them? Steam gently. Use garlic, a squeeze of lemon, fresh parsley. Do not fry. Do not overcook. You want the delicate fats and minerals to remain intact, alive. The taste is slightly sweet. The benefits? Profound. And when you eat them, know this, you're feeding not just your hunger, but your mitochondria. The tiny engines inside your cells. The very machinery of your energy. And that's the beginning of something beautiful. Now, we move from the unfamiliar to something more beloved. A shellfish most have tasted, but few have truly appreciated for its healing power. Number 2, oysters, nature's multivitamin in a shell. Oysters aren't just romanticized delicacies. For seniors, they are a lifeline. 2 medium oysters contain more than 100% of your daily need for zinc, a mineral that becomes harder to absorb with age, yet more essential than ever. Zinc is your immune system's compass. When you're low, infections find you more easily. Wounds heal more slowly. Brain fog creeps in. And even your senses, taste, smell, begin to fade. A 2021 paper in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that over 40% of seniors are zinc deficient. Not because they eat poorly, but because their bodies simply can't extract it from plants or grains the way they once did. But oysters? They offer zinc in its purest, most absorbable form. And they don't stop there. They're also rich in vitamin B12, vital for energy metabolism, nerve repair, and preventing the type of silent cognitive decline that begins in the early 60s and, if unchecked, leads to dementia. Oysters contain selenium, which protects your thyroid. Iron, which supports your red blood cells. And uniquely, they contain copper. You don't hear much about copper. But it's critical for collagen formation, red blood cell health, and even bone density. One long-term European study showed that seniors with higher copper intake had 18% fewer fractures over 5 years. Not because they exercised more. Not because they took calcium pills. But because their collagen, yes, even in their bones, remains strong. Oysters are not a luxury. They're a prescription. One your body has been craving. And now, we arrive at the final marine miracle. It isn't a fish. It doesn't swim. And you've likely never seen it on your plate. But it may be the single most complete healing seafood you could ever consume. Because it doesn't just support your joints, your heart, your energy. It supports everything. Number 1, sea moss, the forgotten fountain of strength. Sea moss. Also called Irish moss. A humble marine plant. Slippery to the touch. Unremarkable in appearance. But inside this sea vegetable is a constellation of minerals. Over 90 of them. Nearly every element your body needs: magnesium, iodine, sulfur, selenium, iron, potassium, all woven together in a form your cells can absorb. For seniors, sea moss is more than food. It is medicine. Because when you turn 60, your body begins to leak vitality, not all at once, but quietly, piece by piece. Your collagen thins. Your joints dry out. Your gut lining weakens. The spark in your brain slower to ignite. But sea moss offers what most foods cannot: the building blocks of repair. It doesn't contain collagen itself, but it fuels your body's own ability to make collagen thanks to its abundance of vitamin C, proline, and sulfur. These are the raw materials your system uses to rebuild the scaffolding of your tissues: skin, cartilage, tendons, even your gut wall. A 2022 study in marine drugs found that seniors who consumed sea moss daily for just 8 weeks saw a 37% improvement in joint flexibility and a 29% reduction in visible skin dryness. Not because they took expensive pills, but because they returned to the ocean. To what is ancient, natural, unprocessed. Sea moss is also rich in mucilage, a slippery soluble fiber that coats the digestive tract. It soothes inflammation, helps close microscopic holes in the gut wall, and feeds your beneficial bacteria. And when your gut heals, your brain wakes up. You think more clearly, sleep more deeply, digest more efficiently. Because your microbiome, the trillion-strong community inside your intestines, has what it needs to thrive. But the story doesn't stop there. Sea moss helps your thyroid, thanks to its iodine. It supports your lungs, thanks to its natural antiviral properties. It balances your blood pressure, thanks to its potassium. It eases your joints, your skin, even your mood. And best of all? It's gentle. There is no sharpness. No spike. No crash. It simply nourishes. To prepare it, rinse thoroughly. Soak for 12 to 24 hours in clean water. Then blend into a gel. You can add it to smoothies, stir into warm teas, or take it by the spoonful. Just 1 or 2 tablespoons a day, and the changes you feel may be nothing short of profound. Your digestion may settle. Your joints may loosen. Your skin may regain its glow. But more than that, you may begin to feel something you haven't felt in years: wholeness. Because real strength, at this stage of life, doesn't come from force. It comes from flow. From nutrients that move gently through your tissues, repairing what time has worn down. From foods that partner with your body, instead of fighting it. Sea moss is not a trend. It's not a fad. It is, quite possibly, one of the most complete and healing marine foods on Earth, especially for those over 60. And now, you've seen the full picture. The seafoods that damage and the ones that restore. You've seen how squid, scallops, imitation crab, and shrimp, so common, so familiar, can inflame your arteries, burden your kidneys, spike your blood sugar, and strain your joints. And you've seen the quiet miracles waiting in sea cucumber, green-lipped mussels, oysters, and sea moss, foods that heal without fanfare. That repair, not with promises, but with presence. Now let me leave you with this. Growing older is not a slow unraveling. It is not a decline into weakness. That is the lie you've been fed. Aging is a sacred transformation. Yes, the body changes. But so does the soul. You become more precise in what you value. More honest in what you feel. More courageous in what you're willing to release and what you're finally ready to claim. And your body, it will follow your lead. Feed it not with fear, but with care. With wisdom. With rhythm. With foods that understand your age and rise to meet it. Because it is never too late to begin again. Not with pills. Not with shortcuts. But with real nourishment. Daily rituals. Foods that come from the earth and the ocean, uncompromised, unprocessed, and complete. Squid. Imitation crab. Scallops. Shrimp. Let them go. Sea cucumber. Green-lipped mussels. Oysters. Sea moss. Bring them in. And then listen. To your knees. Your skin. Your heartbeat. Your dreams. They will begin to speak to you again. Not in pain. Not in stiffness. But in strength. In ease. In energy. Let this be the moment you stop merely surviving. And start rebuilding. If this spoke to you, don't let it fade. Hit subscribe so you never miss the truth your body's been waiting to hear. Share this with someone you love, someone over 60 who still thinks shrimp is healthy. And in the comments, tell us. What will you start doing differently after today? We read every single one. You're not alone. You're not broken. You are rebuilding, one wise choice at a time. We'll be here, every step of the way.